Hello and welcome to A Star to Steer Her By, episode 289.
Wow!
This is Chris, and joining me today are...
Ames.
Caitlin.
And Jake.
Oh, yeah. But also...
And Carl. Hello.
And in this ring...
Good to see you.
Good to see
Welcome
you,
back,
Carl.
Yeah, good to see you, Carl. Thanks for joining us today, Carl.
You bet.
Oh, that was some NPR voice, Jake.
You know, I try.
I have tingles.
So, this week, we will be looking at Think Tank and nothing else. Yeah, it's weird. We're only doing
True.
one episode.
This isn't
I
a
don't know
memory
why.
wipe episode.
I know, but I really want to pretend the fight doesn't exist.
I also wish it was a memory wipe episode, because holy fuck.
Oh,
There
God.
are some resounding moments we'll discuss, but tell us, Chris.
Must I? First up in the fight, we open with Chakotay screaming on a med bed, and it's not 'cause Janeway put something up his tuchus again. He's afraid he's going crazy, and he can't understand the aliens. What is all this? Well, don't worry, we're gonna flash back to Chakotay, who, even though I'm pretty sure he said didn't really know Boothby at the academy, now says Boothby taught him how to box? So he's in a boxing simulation, and Ray Walston is there being like, you're the shittest boxer. He's like, I'm not that bad. And then space explodes, he gets punched, and he is that bad. And then we're back in sickbay. And the doctor's like, what the? Why? Why is this program allowed? Was he playing it with safeties off? I guess, because he got injured. But also, oh, Chakotay, you have like a genetic marker for unspecified crazies.
Oh, it
He's
had
like,
a name. I didn't write the name down.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Well, either way, he's got what Chakotay will later call the crazy gene, which, like, wow. That sounds like something out of Futurama. And, yeah, he'd apparently, like, it runs in the family, but he'd had it suppressed because apparently genetic modification now is allowed to an extent within the Federation, it
If
seems.
you're not Bashir, you can do it all you like.
Yeah, fucking apparently. Meanwhile, we wind up in chaotic space, where...
Ooh.
Chaotic.
Nothing-
Chaotic.
Nothing
chaotic
works.
space.
Yeah.
It sounds like Futurama 2.
Chaotic
It sounds
space.
like a mini golf course.
Ooh, that would
Mini
be
golf
way more
course.
fun than this. So they basically work out that the aliens activated Chakotay's crazy gene to try to talk to him, to tell them how to get out of chaotic space.
Chaotic space.
He
I don't
eventually-
understand. I don't understand the joke.
the terrible wormhole alien style vision he has, where every time they say chaotic space, they say it like 5
Six times.
Oh!
Chaotic space. Chaotic
See, I
space.
like that.
Chaotic space.
Chaotic space?
Chaotic space.
So yeah,
Okay.
he eventually has a vision. He figures it out. They get out of chaotic space.
Chaotic space.
Chaotic space.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Oh,
Carl.
I forgot. There were
Thank
also
you.
some vision quests with Granddad.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're
The,
doing that again.
And
y'all
they were
y'all know
awesome.
from experience that I don't do dream sequences. So I was, none of that was necessary.
No, well, because that's it. That's the episode. Well, really, I was saying to Caitlin after we watched this one, I was
That's
like,
your mistake right there, Chris.
That's correct.
I said going in, I was like, is this one of the infamous ones? I can't remember.
That's why Carl is here. Didn't you pick it up on the pattern?
And then I watched it and was like, oh yes, this is one of the infamous ones.
Oh, yes, this is shit.
Oh boy, we're bringing back Vision Quests, which we hadn't done in so long that I thought maybe the show had come to its senses and decided to not do the bad Native American stuff anymore, but I was wrong.
Can't your people turn into birds or something?
I mean, at least the dude what played his granddad is actually, like, in real life, part Native American. So that's something.
Yeah, I enjoyed his performance. That's Ned Romero. And he was on Next Gen once as well.
Yeah, he was in Journey's End, but he was also a Klingon back in the TOS days.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Which one?
Oh, fuck, I can't remember. I looked it up the other day. He's not like one of the big ones. He never, came back as a Klingon later.
He didn't fuck Dax that we know of.
that we know of.
He was also in Galactica 1980, the Strange
sweet.
sequel series.
Wow.
He's been around.
Kid Chaos was our buddy, what's his name, / Satan's robot.
Oh, was that Ayala?
Yeah, Ayala, yeah, that
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Just one of his 8,000 roles on this show.
Oh, good for him. Yeah, I'll say one of the kind of shining lights of this episode that is mostly very exhausting and
So
very repetitive. And Jesus Christ, I see why it's on a lot of bad lists. Is when Kid Chaos turns around and he just has space for a face. Great effect. I like that.
That was like Star Trek does Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come, and it was fun. Actually, so interesting, at one point, Caitlin goes, Jesus Christ, who wrote this? So I was like, well, who did write this? And I looked it up, and I'm not sure exactly how it worked back in the day.
Just tell him the name first, because I have to call out how proud I was of myself recognizing the name.
The teleplay was by Joe Menosky,
Mm-hmm.
and the story was by Michael Taylor.
Yes.
And you know what I said, Ames?
What did you say? That's the guy that wrote The Visitor?
No, I said, is that the guy that did Masks?
Michael Taylor?
No, the Menosky
teleplay guy.
did Masks. So here's the thing. Yeah, Taylor, that was the thing. I was like, wow, Michael Taylor is the man behind The Visitor and In the Pale Moonlight.
Mm-hmm.
He's behind Bride of Chaotica. Think
Yeah,
Tank,
Michael Taylor's very good.
The Disease, which, and a bunch I haven't actually seen yet or don't remember. But then Menosky, the teleplay guy, it's astounding. Like, Clues from TNG. Darmok. What else we got? Time's Arrow Part 1 and 2. So half a good episode if you ask me,
just
but no one else.
fully bad episode.
False Prophets from this. Future's End Parts 1 and 2, which, you know. Scorpion Parts 1 and 2. Year of Hell Parts 1 and 2.
But he is one of their main writers, so
Yes.
he does a lot of this stuff.
Yep, which also, again, Masks, but also perhaps most importantly, DS9's Distant Voices.
Mm-hmm.
God, Chris goes, oh my god, imagine what horrible episode he did from Deep Space Nine. And I was like, Prophet and Lace? Or no, you said the worst one, and I said Prophet and Lace, and you said, okay second worst
one.
Now, do you know, because it sounds like you looked into this, I'm waiting to hear if you know the rest of the story, Chris.
No, I just looked at their credits.
Oh, okay.
I didn't go into detail because I know that's your department.
I was gonna say,
I didn't want to step on feet.
we would never steal your stories, Ames.
Except when you do.
Oh, yeah, except those times.
I try not to, but I fail sometimes.
So here's what happened with this script. So Michael Taylor had a script. I really kind of really want to see what this script was because they turned it down because it was too intellectual. And I say too intellectual. This is fucking Star Trek. Who do you think you're writing for, guys? And then they gave it to Braga and Menosky, and they rewrote it in a way to be more like their shit, which, Menosky, we've seen in all of the aforementioned episodes, does a lot of those weird communication-y, hallucination-y, just all the weird dreamscape episodes are usually Menosky. So I kind of want to see what it used to be.
Sense.
Yeah, I was saying, like, I want to really look at it in depth, but I was like, wow, on the one hand, he's written some great episodes, and on the other hand, he's written some real trash, and I think he might average out to more bad than good.
Well, a lot of main TV writers like that are the ones called on. I mean, the other factor behind the scenes in this is like this was lurched into production because the bridge caught fire.
Right.
And they couldn't shoot on it for like 3 weeks.
But they had a boxing ring.
But they had a boxing ring. Yeah. So good, better punch up there, Robert Beltran. We're sending you in.
Oh God, that was another thing. The fight choreography was fucking awful. I mean, I don't know much about boxing, but that was the least convincing boxing I've ever seen in a film or TV show. Like, goddamn.
Is boxing the most unpopular sport that is beloved the most by TV people? Because I feel like everyone gets a boxing episode, and I'm never quite sure why.
No, that was baseball.
But see,
we discussed this when we did Take Me Out to the Holosuite.
Oh,
yeah,
sure.
I think we're biased because we're BSG fans, and
that's true. That is a good boxing episode.
Yes, I love that episode.
They really brought it.
The thing is, boxing was fucking huge, like right up through like the 60s, 70s ish. The Muhammad Ali days. So
it's true.
older writers were remember that era where it was one of the biggest sports in America, and then it has just fallen off so hard. Like, it's easy to forget because we were born in the era where it had already pretty much fallen off, but like there was basically 60s, 70s, like boxing fell off and suddenly football exploded in a way that it hadn't before. Baseball began to taper.
They're like, we don't want boxing levels of brain damage, but we still want some brain damage. What else do we have?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, American football? Perfect.
I do love, an episode like this, it's kind of interesting to see how much the actors can like elevate weak material. And Picardo's pretty good at this. Like his hatred of boxing really sells
That was
a
good.
lot of those scenes.
I like that.
That was good.
He would be like primally opposed to boxing.
Yeah, and it makes sense.
Well, he is a doctor.
I do feel like, though, aside from that, he was awful in this.
Who, Picardo?
Yeah, I mean,
Really?
everyone, to be honest. I think everyone.
Yeah, I don't
was
think anybody
really-
was on their best.
Yeah, I
This
was going to ask you guys specifically what you thought of Beltran in this episode, because he doesn't get a lot of episodes for himself, really, and he's usually a more quiet character.
Yeah, there was just so much half-crazed screaming. Like, I feel like had it been good drama, he probably could have done well, but
He was trying so hard.
bad drama.
Yeah, and there was just like so many moments in this episode where like, oh, okay, there are the pan flutes.
Yeah.
We're doing this.
Yeah.
And it's
They
just
did
like,
it.
Nope.
And I know even like the director was Winrich Colby, who I don't know his credits, but I know he's directed a lot of this, so you can't even
Dating
say
Kate
maybe
Mulgrew at this time, I believe.
Really interesting.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
But it wasn't like, so it's not like, okay, it's a director that's worked with this cast a lot, so he knows them too,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So you can't even blame it on like a new or untested director. It's just like the script is just that bad.
Well, so much of it is also this script trying to be very surreal.
And
Like, I forget
failing.
what the director was. There was a director in TOS that did all, like, the Fish Islands kind of episodes. And we always
Yeah.
recognized him because he was the Fish Islands guy.
Fucking loved that lens.
And there's such a different style you kind of have to do when you're doing a weird, either, like, there's a dream episode, or we're talking with the stupid prophets talking in riddles, or those kinds of episodes where it's just, you have to shoot it in a way that is unique and dreamy, dreamscapey, kind of.
And that was a thing, and that's why I was surprised you were kind of into it, because it felt like when he was talking to the aliens, it felt like one of the bad wormhole alien interactions.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, especially
they weren't
when
even
like
trying anymore.
they were just responding by cutting together earlier clips from the episode of like cutting together lines that people were saying, and it didn't work for me. It just it seemed really lazy.
Chaotic
I
space.
bought it.
Yeah.
But, you know, my first note when they started doing that was, oh God, am I going to love or hate this? But the couple of times that the chaotic space aliens basically forced, you know, previous lines of dialogue to say, your brains can't comprehend us. Your brains can't comprehend us. Over and over again. To just say, like, that's why this is really weird, because there's no way you would understand.
Yeah, like, I like the idea of that, like, all right, we can take your memories, cut them up like newspaper words, and make a ransom note out of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the concept, I think, is pretty good. The execution, honestly, I think I wouldn't have bothered me as much, genuinely, if they didn't say chaotic space like 3 times every time they said chaotic space.
Chaotic space.
That was a
Chaotic
bonkers
space.
choice. I don't get it.
Well, I think it's a bonkers choice that they made because the deadline was in 5 minutes.
Yeah. That's also
And
true.
this, I guess I kind of view this more as a happy accident episode. Admitting that it's bad. Obviously, the script is bad.
So bad.
But you know, it's interesting. I like that scene for those reasons. Like, it feels like the aliens were probing his mind, trying to figure out what English words would line up with what they intended, and they just use the same like 5. It's like the music scene in Close Encounters or something.
Yeah, again, it's a great idea. It kind of reminds me of, like, hell, even when I was first having to learn another language in school.
Yeah.
Being like, you know, now write some freeform stuff. And it's like, man, I want to say all this stuff, but I don't have the vocabulary yet. I have this, like, handful of 50 words. Christ.
Yeah.
And so that, again, really good. Like, a solid concept for that heart of the episode.
Well, again, yeah, conceptually, I don't have a problem with it. I think, again, it was in the execution and we're just going to do a clip show version of this idea as opposed to like, you know, reshooting those scenes with this in mind. Like, why don't we go to fisheye lens? Why don't we like look straight up the character's nose as you know, like from Beltran's perspective? Because wouldn't it have been from Chakotay's POV when we were in these scenes?
That's a good point.
Like it just seemed like they're like, okay, we got to do this dream sequence. Okay, so what are we gonna do? Well, let's just like take the shots that we've already done and just like glue them together and do the ransom note thing.
Yeah, or even see from these aliens' points of view, because they probably don't perceive the same way we do. Like I could foresee like something that we saw in The Voyage Home when they're going back in time and all the heads just appear like statues. Something really stylistic and strange.
Yeah.
If you're gonna go weird, go super weird with it, guys.
Yeah. I agree, and I would venture to say that this could have been a good or memorable episode if they had like spent less time trying to make it make sense, because it doesn't make sense. It's just not going to make sense. But if you like, I liked stuff like there's a shot where he's like going into the dream and he stares at a medical console, and we've never quite seen that kind of shot before. Like he's just staring at it, and like his fear is creeping onto his face as it fades. And I liked stuff like that, but it really is like an episode where it's like you're looking for good stuff among a junkyard, you know?
Yeah. And it's so like wildly inconsistent, even internally, where like, you know, they're earlier on, they're like, oh yeah, focus on the voices. They're trying to contact you. And then in a later scene, they're like, maybe they're trying to contact him. It's like, what? We established it.
Yes.
What the fuck? What the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, they enter a flashback where it is not clear where they exit the flashback. That's my biggest problem. That's
Release
the biggest
the Michael
unforced
Taylor
error.
cut.
Yeah. It's like, suddenly the doctor is saying the opposite opinion of the one he was saying 2 minutes ago. The flashback must be over. Great.
Right.
Yeah. But this wasn't even, neither of that case was a flashback. They just genuinely fucked up.
Yeah.
Like this was, oh, and Jake, what was it, or Ames, anyone, was I right? Didn't he say in the, not that it matters, but I'm a nerd.
No, it matters.
Didn't he say he didn't really know Boothby at the Academy in that episode with all the 8472s?
By that he's lying because he knows something's wrong.
But I thought he said it to Janeway.
Oh, did he? Okay, that I don't remember. If that's true, then I'm confused.
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, no, certainly if it was just to one of the 8472s, like, yeah, totally, it's just covered.
Yeah. Shockingly, no one like pointed out on Memory Alpha or anything, which they tend to do because they're pathetic nerds.
Then maybe I'm misremembering.
Let's get on there.
Get on there! Be the pathetic nerd I know you can be.
I'll have to go rewatch that other episode first to be sure I'm correct.
Could it be that Boothby is the character preloaded into that program for some reason?
Well, that would make sense.
No.
He says specifically it's Boothby because Boothby was his boxing instructor at the Academy.
Oh.
Which, like, why do you get the oldest man?
Well,
because he's great at yelling at you.
Well, also because, like, he fits the visual description of the old boxing trainer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the old man that hung around the gym who was great in his prime, and now he just trains the young guys. But it doesn't make any sense for a few reasons. So I like Ames' idea that like maybe he was just telling that to Species 8472 Boothby in order to like test him.
Yeah.
Because like obviously Boothby would also remember Chakotay.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So he hasn't aged that much, I don't think.
Yeah. And like he's memorable. He's got a tattoo on his face. Like
he wouldn't have in the Academy,
I was gonna say, did he have?
Oh, that's true. That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, but the pan flutes that surround him wherever he goes, you'd remember those.
Maybe it's a Clark Kent Batman thing.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Chris.
That was beautiful. Just the idea that music just follows him in world.
I imagine that it's like little critters, like cute little cartoon critters holding pan flutes, like in a Disney movie or something.
Well, that's adorable.
You just turned Chakotay into a Disney princess.
Yay!
Sorry, Jake. You were saying.
Yeah. So I don't know. But I also think it doesn't make sense to me that the gardener is also the boxing coach.
Yeah, no, it's like you said, Jake. It's just because he's kind of like Mickey from Rocky.
Yeah, that's the only reason.
And either they couldn't get him or he had already passed by this point. I don't know when he died. Can't think of his name right now, but he was a fairly well-known character actor. Burgess Meredith.
Oh,
Oh, really? Burgess Meredith is in Rocky?
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
Man.
Oh, so you mentioned earlier, Chris, one of the other things that's kind of a little out of place, and I'm going to say unnecessary because I've seen it done way better, is we start in media res with Chakotay already at a point where he's in contact with the aliens, he's been having the hallucinations, he's in medbay, and the doc says, don't you remember? Here's the rest of the episode to show you what already happened.
Yeah,
why not just do it in order?
Now, I believe that was due to they ran short. In the chaos of making this episode, they said that. But here again, I mean, that instead of doing that, they should have just filmed more wacky shit.
They should have, yeah. They absolutely should have. And you don't need the bridge set for that.
Or just told the friggin' ads department to sell 5 more minutes to Coca-Cola. Something.
Anything would be preferable. Even the audiences will agree that another commercial break would be just fine.
Yeah, wow, this was such a mess.
I know, just the weird overlapping dream sequences, the fact that, and this is another Minosky trait, you always see it, the other characters playing things in your hallucination, because we've got, like, Paris is there, like, trying to, like, be a bookie? What the hell was he supposed to be doing?
Yeah. Oh, also, and again,
Neelix is the towel boy.
This doesn't, again, also really... Earth boxing made it to the Cardassians and they decided they love it.
I don't know. If anybody was going to love it, it's them and the Klingons.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I also just feel like boxing... Here's the thing about boxing.
Tell us.
It sucks.
It's swinging your fist at another person's face.
Yeah.
And, like, it's not something that took effort to come up with. It was something we were doing anyway, and we're like, let's make a game out of this. So I'm sure every species in every corner of the galaxy that has hands that can be turned into hammers is doing their own version of boxing. So maybe that's
Old hammer hands.
But apparently everyone just agreed, let's just do the Earth version. But you know what? I'm going to stop myself right there. I'll take that over trying to create a future martial art like Ambo Jutsu or whatever it was called. So
I'm just surprised that
Rambo,
like
what now?
That by the 24th century, boxing isn't you clasp your hands together and swing both arms at the same time.
That would have been...
seems to be the dominant fighting style,
especially
of the time.
If they had a special, like, singular glove that you put the hands into.
Yes. Now we're talking. That I would buy.
The Kirk Chop boxing glove, that would have been great. That would have been a shining moment in this otherwise clusterfuck of an episode.
The Kirk Chops and glove.
All right. Related to almost nothing, but I wanted to bring this up because I saw it today watching commercials during a hockey game. There's a thing called slap fighting. There's the Power Slap corporation that does slap fighting where you just slap each other in the face. I can't tell if this is a real show or a joke show, and it's driving me insane.
There's all kinds of ridiculous.
It's probably real.
I would believe that
arts.
it's real. Yeah.
That's like a thing.
What is its country of origin, please?
Probably us.
Probably American.
That sounds like a weird YouTube fad. You know what I mean?
It does.
It sounds like something that's on the Ocho, is what it sounds like.
It's something
On the what?
The Ocho.
What's
ESPN
that?
8.
The
ESPN 8 is the Ocho, and they play all the crazy weird sports.
There's like in the most recent Hitman game, they put a new map in recently, which is like a mercenary island. And there is a section where like the mercenaries trying to prove how tough they are to each other by literally just slapping one another until one of them quits. So like, yeah, wow. Oh dear. But there it's kind of like tongue in cheek, like this is dumb, but we get it. God above.
I think Chakotay would be great at it.
Oh.
That and making tubs.
Speaking of Chakotay and his tattoo from earlier, did his whole family end up getting the tattoo? Because remember, we found out he got the tattoo design from the like alien tribe descendants that his father met that time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but his grandfather had the tattoo too. So, like, did all the family end up being like, yeah, let's all get this tattoo? Or did the writers just forget? And they were like, well, you'll know it's his grandfather, not just because he's been talking about his grandfather and here's an old man. He'll have the visual marker that he is a Chakotay.
Yeah, I don't think I think we could have figured it out who that character was without the
just give him the pan flutes, not the tattoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting this. Yeah, I mean, I am 100% sure the reason is that the writers did not remember.
Yeah.
That, like, the only other Chakotay-centered episode talked about this. But in universe, sure, yeah. His dad went home and told the whole family at the next reunion, like, hey, y'all got to get this tattoo to celebrate our ancestors, the aliens.
Yeah, I know there's a novel, and when I was looking into things, when I was writing my Chakotay fanfic, which y'all should read, I had a lot of fun writing it, that his sister does have the tattoo.
Okay. So he went back and was like, hey guys, that's what it was, Jake. It was at a family reunion. He actually brought a tattoo artist.
Yeah.
It was like face painting, but way more extreme.
Sounds like my kind of party, to be honest.
I guess the saving grace of this episode is you get to see Chakotay do stuff that he never does in any other episode.
He tries to slug Tuvok, and I loved it.
Yeah. I think you've done a good job in kind of pointing out that they don't really give him a lot to do. I think my favorite Chakotay episode is the one with him and Aaron Eisenberg.
Oh, that's a good one. Initiations.
Yeah,
yes,
that's a good one.
Because I think it's because he is, normally he's quiet, but like in that episode, he is like tough and considerate in equal measure. And I wish we could have seen more of that from Chakotay.
When they let Chakotay be Chakotay, which we found, like, he's at his best when, like, he so often, we've noticed, like, sort of personifies this Star Trek idea of, like, hey, let's talk it out, man.
Yeah.
He's the moral compass, kind of.
Yeah, like you said, that episode, he had to be a little tougher because he was dealing with a daft Kazon, but, he's the one when he gets kidnapped by the dinosaur descendants in that
Distant
episode.
Origin.
Thank you.
He does what he always does and whips off his trousers to initiate first contact.
Yeah.
Yep.
But, he's there and, he's just talking to the dinosaur guy like, hey, dude, let's be friends. Come on. We don't have to, and they don't do that enough considering how good he is at it when they write him doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he's McKee. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead, Carl.
Well, just the fact that was McKee on top of that is kind of extra. Like, he's the gentlest, toughest guy in the McKee. Like, that could have been interesting.
Yeah, that is the one thing I have said. Like, I do not understand. Like,
right.
He became a Maquis, like, because he was really shit-faced after his father died. Made a rash decision. It's like, well, I gotta do this now, I guess.
The tattoo is permanent.
Well, I mean, we've said this from the beginning, though, that, like, any semblance of Chakotay, the Maquis leader, is basically absent from the show from the first episode.
No,
like,
that's true.
They never chose to mine that particular vein.
Yeah, even if he was like the kind of odd couple Maquis guy, like everyone else in the Maquis is like kill, 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 and Chakotay's like, hang on a second now. How about we all, sit down around a campfire, have some hot dogs and beans, and chat about this the situation first.
Yeah,
and then Seska pouts in the corner.
Well, like the fact that like our Maquis character, like the few times that he has like legitimate conflict with Janeway, it's because Janeway is trying to do something.
Usually blow up the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he's usually talking, like, it should be the other way. It should be, the Maquis that's a little more reckless and wants to, take chances and do things not by the book. But oftentimes he's the one that's trying to talk Janeway out of it.
I mean, I guess in a way you could argue that maybe they're trying to show that there is more to Maquis than just very angry people like B'Elanna. But
you also have Suitor.
And, Les Miserables obsessives like...
Eddington. Yay!
Yeah, but see, the thing is, the effect here, though, is that instead of making the Maquis three-dimensional, they just made them a different type of one-dimensional.
And then killed them all.
And then killed them all.
Yes.
The other thing I was going to mention, and I can't remember... Actually, now I completely forget what it was.
So no. Poor Jake.
If you remember...
I know what it was. Going back to boxing for a second.
Do it.
How the hell did boxing manage to survive...
Right?
into the 24th century. It's just like, it's given what we know today about CTE and, all of the other terrible things that can happen to boxers in particular, even as compared to other martial arts. How is it still happening?
The only way it works is if you do it in the holodeck with the safeties on and you always go against a holographic opponent, and yet somehow Chakotay gets injured by his holographic opponent.
I don't see how the safeties would necessarily help here, right? Because if it's like a concussion that you're going to get, which is what you're going to get.
Yeah, the safeties should just turn the program off.
Yeah.
Like that should be the only safe version of boxing.
Pool noodles.
They can cure CTE in the future.
Yeah.
They can cure anything in the future.
Yeah, there we go.
I mean, Star Trek does have a habit of like hanging on to these vices and making big deals of hanging on to these. I will never understand why you humans drink this coffee.
Right. Although, as much as I'm glad they didn't bring back Ambo Jitsu, I don't know. I would have appreciated a different sport.
Parisi squares?
I mean, it could have still been like an
extant sport?
Yeah.
Judo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Some kind of like an Eastern martial art, which probably might stick around because there's more to it than just beating your opponent over the head.
Yeah.
And I think since he's such a pacifist, actually, an Aikido might work because it usually is like using your opponent's momentum against them instead of like actually hitting, isn't it?
I thought that was judo.
Oh, I thought that was Aikido.
Shows what we know about.
Yeah,
Eastern
I know
about anything.
But there is definitely one that is renowned for like use your enemy's own attacks against them, and yeah, that would fit Chakotay nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was I think the grandfather said this in one of the hallucination scenes, was he says something to the effect of when he refuses to take his medication, he says the wound must be honored, which sounded to me a little bit like Kirk's I need my pain kind of a thing.
Yeah, it's one thing to need your pain. It's another to be like, my brain's broken and they could fix it, but I'm going to let it stay broke.
Well, yeah, but that's like not unusual with like mental illness. It's usually really difficult. Not usually, but there are certain mental illnesses that are really difficult to get people to continue taking their medication.
No, that's true.
Either because they feel better so they think they don't need it, or for like paranoid reasons. So it kind of sort of unfortunately makes some sense.
Yeah, that's true.
Thank you.
Yeah, I also feel like in that specific phrasing, there's also some of that,
bad faux Native American thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the wound must be honored.
Yeah,
must it?
I mean, it's kind of a cool turn of phrase, but knowing where it came from, I don't know if I trust it.
Yeah, like had it come out of any other character,
yeah,
it wouldn't have that gross undertone.
Yeah, even from Boothby. Boothby, who says something to the effect of, boxing isn't about avoiding the punches, it's about taking lots of punches. And they're like, Boothby, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's actually not what boxing's about.
Unless you're Homer Simpson, because then you just take lots of punches and tire out the other guy.
And that's what boxing's all about, Charlie
So
Brown.
how wasn't Boothby making, like, gardening and flower metaphors,
How come Boothby didn't swoop in the end with a fan and a parachute to pull Chakotay out of the ring?
Yay!
It's
another great episode.
Oh,
really is.
It's a Simpsons joke.
Oh.
Do we have anything else on this one?
I have one good line that I had a great retort to.
Okay.
And that's that Chakotay says, I need to go on a vision quest. And the doctor says, that's not the best idea right now. In the same way one would say, sir, this is a Wendy's.
That's funny.
See, now I'm picturing that one day young Chakotay was actually in a Wendy's. I say, what would you like, sir?
A vision quest.
I have to go on a vision quest to decide. What, sir? Okay. Can we go to the... Okay.
Have you guys had the new Wendy's sandwich, by the way?
What's the new Wendy's sandwich? I mean, no.
Holy shit. Okay, let me tell you about this Wendy's sandwich. You can have it with either the chicken or the hamburger patty.
Sure.
But then they basically take that, and they take a whole puck of fried mozzarella and put it on top.
Yep.
And it's amazingly dense. I could probably just eat one and still be, or like half of one and still be full. But holy shit, this sandwich.
Yeah, it's their Italian... It's supposed to be like a Italian.
Oh, with
thing.
marinara sauce.
It's got marinara sauce and provolone
Holy shit.
cheese and garlic bun.
Okay, we're not doing what
I was
we're
just
doing
gonna
for
say,
dinner.
what did
We're
you
going
say
to
we were
Wendy's.
doing for dinner? Because I need Wendy's now.
Going to Wendy's and having
Not-
a vision quest at the drive-thru.
Sadly, not sponsored by Wendy's.
I got high once before going to Wendy's. Does that count as a vision quest? It
Depends.
doesn't.
Did you get the Dave's double or not?
Dude, I think I got a triple, and we also got chicken nuggets. Like, we were so fucked up, and the girl who cashed us out was like, that's a lot of food. And I was like, yeah.
I'm
Like,
sure they're
very
very used to
eloquently.
that.
Wendy's
Yeah.
cashiers have seen it all.
Mm.
That-
And if they hadn't, George Costanza could help solve their problem.
Hey.
Segue.
Nice job, buddy.
So, in Think Tank, some sort of blue fishy man is walking around a weird alien ship,
Love him. I'll tell you who that is later.
and he meets a Buzzy Boy, and a Hanar without its tentacles, and a nomad descendant looking thing, and then George Costanza, who's all like, I'm channeling a yoga instructor and talking all calm, being like, we helped solve your problem. He's like, I know, thank you so much. It's like, great, so about that payment. The guy's like, yeah, so that ore we promised, earthquakes, cut off the mines, so here's a geode? It's the 90s, people like those. And George is like, yeah, nice try, we know you got the ore out ahead of time. What's his actual name? Koros.
George Costanza?
George Kokoros, whatever. Kokoros is like, yeah, nice try, bitch. Pay us or we turn off the devices that were keeping your plan from ripping itself to pieces. And the guy's like, bum, bum, bum.
Bwomp, 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 bwomp.
That's what, yes. Meanwhile, Voyager's getting attacked by the Hazari, who are just like a race of bounty hunters, it sounds like. And they're like, Jesus, who did we piss off? And they're like, everyone?
Yeah, who didn't we piss off?
Seriously. And they're like, and they're, okay, so they, like, these guys straight up blow up a planet to try to kill Voyager. And Voyager's like, oh no, and they get away, but they're like, oh fuck, this whole sector's full of these guys. There seem to be paths out, but they could all be traps. What do we do? And they're really like, they're at an impasse. And then Koros is just in the not the lunch bay. What's it called?
The lunch bay.
Ready room?
No, the
Cafeteria.
Monk's Diner.
yeah, the cafeteria.
Mess hall.
Yeah, mess.
There it is.
He's there in the mess, and she's like, you're a hologram. He's like, no, nothing so simple. I'm a fancy hologram.
Yay, so pretty.
And he drinks some of her coffee. He's like, ugh. He's like, so I'm part of a group that solves problems and shit. Come talk to us. So she does. And yeah, she dubs them the think tank. And he's like, haha, I like it. And it's like, yeah, we solve problems, we ask for payment, and, sometimes it's something elaborate. Sometimes it's soup. And she's like, how charming.
We like soup.
Yeah.
We have lots of soup to give you.
So much soup.
George just wants his fucking soup.
No soup for you.
So, he comes back, he's like, okay, I think I've got a solution for your problem. Here's what we want. And she's like, all right, that
Soup?
slipstream technology. We couldn't get it to work. And he's like, yeah, we're smarter than you. It's like some kind of Neelix recipe, which honestly may have been soup. I can't remember. And then she's like, whoa, wait a minute. It's like, oh, they want 7 of 9.
Like, obviously.
And somehow 7 of 9 doesn't jump at the chance to join a group of smug know-it-all people, which seems weird. And he's like, oh, that's a shame. Oh, well, if you change your mind. And they eventually work out that Koros and his buddies actually hired the bounty hunters to put Voyager in this predicament, so they'd have to contact them to begin with, and it's this whole thing.
Yada yada.
Yeah. And, so Janeway actually, they capture one of the Hazari guys. Like, these guys fucked you. And he's like, oh, we've heard of them. We hate them. So they work together to make it look like they're trying to kill Voyager, being like, oh, Voyager told us about you, and we betrayed them, and we're mad at you. Give us our money. And 7 is like, fine, I'll join you to end this and save my friends. But because she's in their like little linked network they have set up, because none of them speak the same language, and apparently universal translators aren't fancy enough for them, they're hoisted by their own petard, and their
Picard.
dad.
Thank you, I almost said it.
Their little system is shut down. They can't talk to each other. The Hazari start blowing their crap up. 7 leaves. The ship launches away, and the think tank is almost definitely murdered by the Hazari.
One hopes. I hope Bevox gets away. Bevox is this bioplasmic organism who founded the whole thing. I thought he was cool, and I thought
whale?
The what?
The whale thing?
Yeah, the thing. Yeah, the thing that was in the tank. Not the jellyfish. The other thing.
Yeah.
It's a good thing Kuros was a marine biologist. They had the whale on board.
That's right. That was one of his backstories, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, from Seinfeld.
Yes. George was?
Yeah, he made that up.
Yeah, he
right.
I haven't seen a lot of the show, but yeah, he lied about his background quite frequently to sound more impressive than he was.
He was most commonly an architect.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun seeing Jason Alexander in this, because I know he also, like, he's often very much, like, pigeonholed into, like, the Seinfeld type roles.
Yeah, and this is the show was still running at this point, I think, too, so.
Well, it's also not lost that when you've played an iconic role like that, it's pretty hard not to get typecast. I mean, and now, here we are 25 years later, and we're still quoting George Costanza about this completely different character.
Yeah, and again, even me, someone who, again, never really watched the show, never got into it in a big way.
I was going to say, Chris not only doesn't watch it, he hates it.
What do you hate about it?
Everything.
I just don't do well with, like, awkwardness-based humor.
Yeah, sympathetic embarrassment humor is not his thing.
But these aren't sympathetic people. You hate these people.
Well, that's why I have, like, because they, like, whenever you get something where the whole basis is, like, this character doesn't understand they should be embarrassed.
Yeah, like Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I feel the embarrassment they should feel and cringe so hard I turn into a singularity.
I've seen him do it. It's very disturbing.
And then we put those eggs from that race of beings inside of him.
Yeah.
To incubate.
Yeah. But yeah, and I still, like Jake said, I'm thinking like, oh god, as many George Costanza jokes as I can think of.
Yeah.
I thought he did a really good job, though, of separating his performance.
Oh, yeah.
Partly by just talking real slow.
Yeah.
Like, that's the most un-George he could be.
Yeah.
And there was only one line that sounded kind of George to me. And that line was, perfection sometimes necessitates selfishness.
Yeah.
That sounded a little George.
I could see George saying that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, top shelf. It's almost exciting how good this is, given that he is known for performances that are the exact opposite of this. Like, and it's excellent alien acting because we can tell he's like malevolent, but he is just alien enough that you can't quite be sure that he's malevolent. And then of course he's malevolent. But like just there's just one extra plate off the four. The apple cart has like one wheel kicked off it.
Yeah, you're like, either you're a massive prick or that's just part of your alien species. Oh, no, it's
right,
both.
Exactly. And we can't assume you're a prick. I mean, Starfleet, we have to assume that you're the best guy. So here we go. Okay, you're going to take 7. Right.
That was the one thing, though. I was like, I don't know. Like, I know it's been a bit now. She's had character development. But I still feel like at this point, 7 still mostly would be like, this sounds great. See ya. Peace out.
I have a feeling she was tempted until she learned that it was through deceivery that they got her. And then she was like, no, because I don't like the way you went about this.
Yeah, that I would agree with. But I think like earlier on before it was clear what had happened, like I feel like there would have been more, I feel like she should have been more tempted by the offer than she was presented as having been. Like, super intelligent little group of people that work stuff out, not quite as held up by weird Starfleet moral hang-ups.
Not ever returning to Earth.
Yeah.
No Ensign Kim.
I think the idea that they're like, oh yeah, no, we'll occasionally like wipe out planets, we just won't take out everyone in a species. I feel like that would really appeal to 7. He's like, maybe we wipe out the whole species? Just this once?
As a treat?
As a treat.
Yes.
Yeah, no, you know what happened though is she was considering it, and then she walked past an open door and looked in, and she accidentally caught Kuros right after he'd gotten out of the pool. and then she left. She's like, nah, no, I'm out.
It was cold. One of the few episodes.
I'm not going to stop.
One of the few episodes I've seen, Jake. So well done.
Good.
I had to swim with Bevox.
So,
Wow.
Take 2.
Uh-huh.
So,
Good,
Ames,
good.
how much did you love the little AI design? Because it felt very, like, descendant of Nomad.
Oh yeah,
I
I
was
love
calling him Bromad. They never gave him a name.
They didn't. I wish they had given him a name. And they didn't really give the jellyfish thing a name either.
Yeah,
Right.
no.
Which seems rude to me.
Yeah.
Very. Again, like I said, for those who know Mass Effect, and I showed Liz a screen cap and she agreed, there's a jellyfish-like race in Mass Effect called the Hanar, who basically, same exact shape, but they have, like, tentacles coming off the edge, as opposed to having just sort of that big stalk in the middle.
Ah, that was the reference. Got it. I also mentioned, so our friend, I don't think he's named in the episode, but I read his name is Seowin, the blue guy.
Yeah.
From the teaser. Is a familiar face under a whole lot of makeup, but I could see it, and I was very glad, because he was our good friend Kevon.
Oh.
Oh, of course he was.
I know the name. Which one's Kevon?
He was the Vorta that was in the
Rocks and Shoals.
Who was
the corpse.
Yeah, I was gonna say the one they
walking
made into a
corpse.
robot.
Yes, that one.
Well, that's fucking terrific.
Yeah, he's great.
Wow.
We're going to see a lot more of him too coming up.
Cool.
And the guy who played Phenim, who was kind of like the guy that looked very brown and talked and buzzing and stuff.
Yeah, the buzzy chap, yeah.
He previously played both night aliens that we saw in Night. They looked like pudding.
Oh, yes. Okay.
I thought that that Phenim felt very Star Wars. Like there was something very Star Warsian about his like language and his look. I was like, this just turned into a Star Wars. He was
Definitely.
like, and I was like, nope, no.
I don't know how often they have this many different kinds of aliens.
Not
in
often
one
enough.
Show. Yeah, because I'm kind of hit or miss on these. I thought the guy with the shell head was pretty great. I don't know if I like the jellyfish, but I do kind of want it in my apartment.
I always love
cool
the
lava
jellyfish.
lamp.
Yeah,
It would.
but I mean, the best thing about it, and like the biggest one, is this sort of whale who we never even see. Like it really does feel like more evolved.
Yeah, it was the Jaws effect. Just a little glimpse.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do wonder though, okay, so obviously them trying to get Seven by setting up this elaborate bounty hunter scheme, obviously that was a scam and a fraud, and there was the way that they were going to solve this problem was exactly what they tried to do, which is call off the bounty hunters.
Yeah.
So do we think that's just their MO? Like, do you think that the blue guy at the beginning, like their planet was plagued by earthquakes? Do you think
They caused the earthquakes?
they were doing something to cause the earthquakes? Like in all of the... He also says that they cured the Vidians.
The phage.
Yay!
Yeah.
Which I'm like, that's is that bullshit? Because he might have just like known that the Voyager would have encountered them, and because they'd be probably records that he's aware of.
Yeah, and
So maybe he's
EMH
like,
is at home saying, I
Yeah,
hope
I'll
Denara's
just-
okay.
I'll just say that we cured phage, and that'll give us some credibility with these people, because that's something that they know about.
And they're not going to go back and check.
Yeah,
It's far
exactly.
away.
I would believe that they screw around sometimes, but they solve legitimate problems other times. They strike me as amoral enough
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah, like I feel like they seem genuinely. I mean, the only one with a voice we can understand is Koros,
Yeah.
but I am under the impression they're all that smug,
Mhm.
and like they need to actually solve problems to feel special.
Well, it's like they only manufacture problems when they like need more fuel or something.
Yeah, like occasionally there's something they want and they'll do it, but I do think let's again we don't have many examples, but I'm gonna say maybe between 75 and 80% totally legit. 20 to 25%, we want something, so we're going to cause a problem to fix.
And I kind of feel like the ore might be the problem they decide. Well, actually, I guess that would be 2 in a row, so maybe not.
Yeah.
But don't you feel like whatever those people had must have been some kind of valuable?
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I think they said that this problem had bedeviled them for generations. So I think that was legit.
That was legit.
Bedeviled.
But
then
yeah.
again, the whale's super old.
True.
Mhm.
That's true. It could be.
But doesn't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Super genius.
looks great.
Still super vain.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, it makes me think, like, the way that they get beaten by Janeway, just outthinking them and outmaneuvering them and doing this whole subterfuge thing, boxes within boxes, is probably exactly how they wanted to go down because it's a challenge that they'd never thought of. And I'm sure they all had massive boners about it.
Oh, huge.
I also, again, like, I kind of love that part of the reason they were taken down was because they had to have this really elaborate, neural net thing instead of just universal translators.
Or learning each other's languages.
Well, the other languages are so complicated, the brains just can't process each other. Although they probably could have installed like a speech unit on Bromad.
That's right. I'm sure they could have come up with something. Like, yeah,
Bromad.
The languages were too advanced for the Federation universal translators, but this is the think tank.
That's true.
My assumption is that the universal translator couldn't understand Phenom because it was bleeping out the constant swearing.
So much. He's just a foul-mouthed motherfucker.
Yeah, so I was interested enough in the think tank because they never get a proper name.
Yeah, no.
So I was interested. So I actually looked it up, and there actually is some, like beta canon apocrypha stuff.
Oh, like comic books and shit.
Yeah. And I was reading. So this is kind of their backstory.
Bevox as a teenager.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you. So in 2372, they were a crack unit. They were sent to prison by a Hazari court for a crime they didn't commit. They promptly escaped from the maximum security stockade to the Delta Quadrant underground. Today, still wanted by the Hazari, as we know in this episode, they survive as soldiers of fortune. And if you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the A-Team.
Starring Dwight Schultz.
Pout. Yep. I'm over here doing my Seska pout.
I did kind of feel like it was super unlikely that a comic book would exist on this, but I wanted to believe you,
I would
Jake.
not be surprised.
It's self-published by Jason Alexander. So.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Look, as we discussed in chat the other day, there's a legit comic coming out sometime soon where Quark is the middleman in a corgi sale. So
I'm so happy.
Yeah.
What's that fucking somebody in Hooch?
Turner and Hooch?
Turner and Hooch. So what's the Quark and Hooch? Quark and Pooch.
Oh, there we go. Oh, God, I wanted to say earlier, the one problem the think tank couldn't solve, the one that was beyond them, was getting the Kazon a better haircut. Speaking though of Jason Alexander and think tank and Kazon and whatever else.
Good.
And now, Ida, we haven't finished Prodigy yet.
What?
So,
son of a bitch. I have a feeling we may have already released our Prodigy episode, Chris.
Oh, whoops. As of recording, fuck, whatever.
Really pulling back the curtain on this one.
So it could be that this has already been potentially, like, I don't know how, but potentially undone, but Jason Alexander is a voice in Prodigy.
That's right, he's the Tellarite.
Already got him hanging around. Maybe it's time for them to come back. Maybe they can want Zero to join them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I may have said this already, if we already released our Prodigy coverage. Wink, wink. But I don't think they really go for, like, really referential kind of episodes.
No, I know. But if they were going to, because I don't think we see these guys again, right?
I don't think so.
No.
I kind of would like to have some follow-up, like maybe they weren't all murdered by the Hazari.
Maybe the jellyfish got away.
Yeah. They're definitely a lower decks joke waiting to happen.
Oh,
That's
please,
true.
no. I want them done well on Prodigy.
Well, this is kind of what's neat. Like, this is almost a children's show in, like, the good way. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's those aliens were kind of like they might not be out of place in like a Saturday morning cartoon too. And like one thing that I thought, this is my first episode here since season 3, I think, and just like the Catherine Janeway performance is just so much more fun now. Like she's really sort of kirking it up, and she has a lot of like kind of fun like "ain't I a stinker" kind of jokes.
Suppose she does, yes.
And a stinker.
Yeah. And the other thing is she is not... One other thing that's different from the Kazon one that I was in last time, whose name I forget, but like it's more of a group now. I feel like a lot of the Alliances episode was sort of her giving monologues. But I feel like it's just that thing happened where a show improved and they just have a better sense of how to use each character. And it's more of a group thing. And I think that's great.
Except
but some of it involves, some of it involves sidelining.
Balana's so hard.
Sure.
Like when she popped in their big meeting in the when they were having their date at Monk's, and she popped in, I'm like, oh, Balana's here. Hey.
That thing is I feel like the poor bastard goes off on maternity leave and then they forget to kind of reintegrate her.
Yeah.
Because I had a similar thought. Like whenever she does pop up, I'm like, we don't see you much anymore.
Yeah. There's always more we had.
But yeah, I think it's because they didn't find someone to pair her off with, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Even though she
Neelix was totally extraneous. This whole
he's
episode.
not been around a lot lately either, which is too bad.
Well, I think I was going to say I think that this is also the first episode I've been on with you where 7 of 9 is there.
Oh, yeah.
And I think she has been a massive asset to the show.
Oh, absolutely.
Partly she is as impressive as Janeway, but with such a different viewpoint as Janeway. Like it kind of helps both characters because I think it's just sort of hard to relate to someone whose main quality is like they're really good at their job, like Janeway is. But now that she has to keep defending herself, and she thrives on a challenge.
Yeah.
So I just think, if the 7 Janeway scenes have become a little bit, too many of them, it is at least like that is the heart of the show now for the second half.
Well, and I will say, I know it's...
And I enjoy it.
I know it's sort of infamous for becoming the Janeway and 7 show, but it's not actually happening as fast as I thought it was going to.
Yeah, there's still a lot of stuff ahead for B'Elanna and crew.
Yeah, I feel like she hasn't been overused yet. I don't know if maybe that does happen.
I don't know if she ever gets overused because I think that she's a great character.
Yeah, it's always a great use whenever she is used.
But I do think that we won't get as many
Harry Kim
or Harry Kim stories. Yeah. Or,
this is the last Chakotay story we're going to see for probably a long time.
Really, they'll be peppered in, but it's going to be and this is going strictly off of my recollection, so this isn't a scientific measurement, but I feel like it's 60 to 70% Janeway, 7, and Doctor stories from here on out, and then the remaining, 30 to 40%.
More than
everybody else.
More than half of the rest of the cast.
Right.
Yeah, but the way people talk about it, they act like it happened straight away as soon as she showed up, and that so far has not proven to be the case. She's still just part of the ensemble.
Yeah.
Still, as opposed to too many people getting sidelined, although as we have said, we're starting to see it happen.
She kind of becomes Star Trek's first female Spock in a way. And I feel like that's a major, as much as having a captain, it seems like that's kind of a major
We actually,
event.
You brought that up.
Well, I didn't. I mean, yes, I mentioned it, but
yeah, the fact there's
not
always
in that context.
There's always that sort of semi-outsider character. Oh god, this one episode though did prove why she stands all the damn time.
Because she can't sit in that corset?
Watching her have to sit down, I felt so bad for her. You could tell it was not... It was a process.
Right.
Oh, fuck. I felt so bad.
I'm really excited because in a couple of weeks we're going to see her in a different outfit that she can do things in and should have stayed in the rest of the freaking show.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes here and look forward to that in a couple of weeks.
Ooh.
It is. I don't know exactly how I feel about her portrayal on Picard, but it was time for her to get good clothes that don't cut off the circulation to her brain.
Yeah, we discussed the sort of Picard get before, but we have all agreed that yes, the clothes are a vast improvement.
Oh, she looks hot.
Yeah.
So are the Hazari just a race of bounty hunters? Or are they just a collective of people who call themselves the Hazari?
I mean, the few we see...
They're all the same. They're all the same race, but is that what their whole race is like?
Oh, yeah. I mean, at the very least, a lot of them certainly are in this company. This particular group. So, yeah, that's the thing is, I'd love to say, of course not. Of course there's more to them than that. But this is Star Trek. Star Trek loves a monoculture.
Yeah, we see them once. They don't need depth at all. Literally at all.
Yeah.
Somewhere there's a novel where the Hazari and the Hirogen go to war. The hunter race and the bounty hunter race.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, like, there's a scene where somebody, I think it might have even been Janeway, says that the Hazari are the greatest hunters in the quadrant. And I was like, man, somewhere Tony Todd is out there just inconsolable.
I mean, here's the thing. They didn't have this much trouble with the Hirogen, so you might be right.
Well, I don't know. The Hirogen did take over Voyager for an indeterminate amount of time and enslave them.
Yeah.
I think, like, it's required to let your ship get taken over at least once a series by aliens. Like, it's just a requirement in your captain's thing. Like, one time, you've got to let at least once. Because, I mean, the Enterprise D got taken over by Ferengi once. Like, you know.
There is nothing more Star Wars than an entire alien race that's just bounty hunters.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
true.
the most Star Wars thing I could imagine.
I was actually thinking that too, about how in the extended universe they decided that Han Solo actually wasn't special. It was just that all of his people were Han Solos.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, didn't they kind of do that with Boba Fett? Because, like,
right, exactly.
like we have Mando, who's does the same job.
Yeah, and Jango Fett did the same job. And
Well, the thing with that, without getting too into the weeds, is, like, they do establish that Mando's part of a weird, like, almost cult.
Yeah.
And that the actual Mandalorian culture is far more complex. But they do all just really love that armor.
Well, no, not just the armor. They are all bounty hunters, evidently.
Oh no, the actual species is more
Varied.
Yeah.
well, they're not a species; they're a creed.
They're people with hats.
Oh no, so there's actually there's a race and there's a creed. They're separate. It's a whole thing. It's mostly from Clone Wars.
I was gonna say this isn't in the Mandalorian, so I
Also,
don't count it.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
is
we
this
shouldn't
the
be talking
difference
about Creed
between
because
being,
we already talked about the boxing episode.
God damn it,
so-
Jake! God damn it! I was
is this the difference
surprised.
between being like religiously Jewish and ethnically Jewish.
Kinda.
No, Creed's Christian alt rock.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm a little surprised there wasn't an interaction scene in which Kuros did anything with that 3D puzzle game that Tom brought on board.
Yeah, I was expecting that too, actually.
For him to either like look at it and be like, I want that, and I want your Captain Proton game, and I want Neelix's soup, or to have him walk on bridge, take one look at it, boop it once with a finger, and it be like solved, and they like explode into candy and stuff like a pinata.
I did love Seven's solution though. Puzzles are dumb. Cheat.
Cheating is more efficient. Love it.
Very
That is my
Alexander
favorite.
The Great.
I love that scene, everyone's talking about what plans they should do, where they're like, we got to outthink the think tank. So they think for 3 hours. And then they're like, we're talking in circles. I've got an idea. What we should do is cheat the think tank.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, isn't that just outthinking the think tank? Well, whatever gets that idea working,
That's true.
However it works for them.
7 of 9 would definitely just take all the stickers off and reapply them to a Rubik's Cube instead of twisting it.
The last thing I wanted to bring up in my notes. Here it is. Purportedly, Jason Alexander had some trouble with all the technobabble. Because who fucking wouldn't?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, he had so much technobabble to deliver that in the middle of a scene, he just screamed out, Jerry!
Even he made the joke.
He's got to get back to solid ground. That's probably his acting exercise that gets him centered.
My only regret about this episode is that because we never see what happens on the ship after Fuckface realizes it and until Seven gets beamed off because she disappears on the bridge of Voyager. I really wish they had left in the scene where she was standing there right before she got beamed out and she just says to him, "It's not you, it's me."
I assume that's
another-
also
and
That's
then-
another
that's another
Seinfeld?
Seinfeld
Okay,
joke.
I don't get that
Sorry.
one.
Because
I
then his
invented it's
respo-
you, it's me.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you.
There we go.
What did he say?
He said, I invented it's not you, it's me. God damn it. The
oh.
joke's awful. It's ruined.
I'm sorry.
Ruined
I
my
just
joke. My bit's ruined.
See,
Jerry!
didn't hear him.
Just, Chris, just cut in the A-Team bit again here. Because that was pretty good. Yeah, so I was interested enough in the think tank because they never get a proper name.
Yeah, no.
So I was interested. So I actually looked it up, and there actually is some like beta canon apocrypha stuff.
Oh, like comic books and shit?
Yeah. And I was reading. So this is kind of their backstory.
Bevox as a teenager?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you. So in 2372, they were a crack unit. They were sent to prison by a Hazari court for a crime they didn't commit. They promptly escaped from the maximum security stockade to the Delta Quadrant underground. Today, still wanted by the Hazari, as we know in this episode, they survive as soldiers of fortune. And if you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the A-team.
And then a lot of laughing. Just a laugh track.
Get a laugh track. We should... Chris, when you edit this episode, can you make this whole segment a laugh track like Seinfeld? Like when we're introducing ourselves, like when somebody walks in, you got to do like the Kramer comes in the door and everybody, the fake laugh track audience flips out.
Oh God, hopefully
Jake, you might have to do that.
Hopefully none of those sounds are in public domain. I don't want to find them.
No, I'm sure.
Just use us whenever we laughed
sure
at some
canned
point.
Laughter is all over the internet.
Yeah, I could use us, but that's just more effort.
Yeah, that's more work. Don't do more work.
It's not worth it.
I did wonder, like, if Kuros's makeup, originally would have been more alien, but then they got Jason Alexander and we're like, we need to see his face. We're paying for that.
Yeah. Like we did with Barf on Spaceballs.
Yeah. Or if it was always going to be kind of simple since he was going to be in it a lot. So it's like, let's not overdo this.
Well, also, like, he's a big star and probably maybe didn't want to be subjected to that, the time it would have
10
taken
hours in the chair.
Yeah. Like, give me the 3-hour makeup job.
Yeah, but again, I feel like even if he'd been willing, the producers would have been like, no, we want that face in the ads.
I'm sure that he must have filmed this in between 2 episodes of Seinfeld, too. Right? Like, they probably had him for 4 days or something.
I like to imagine that underneath the big robe was actually just the George costume, and he literally had to, like, rip it off, yank off the makeup, and run to the other set.
Well, wait, so when did this one come out? 99, right?
Yeah, this is March of 99.
I want to say Seinfeld ended in 98.
That's true.
Okay, then.
That's true.
So wow. Seinfeld would have been over by now.
So this was the summer of Jason trying to
shake the summer of Jason, Jerry!
Shake off the George stink.
I will
can do
say,
other stuff.
Yeah, the first time I saw this episode, I did not know that was Jason Alexander. I'm sure I would have if I'd seen it in the 90s and been reminded, his face was more omnipresent. Yeah. But like he just moves so differently than George.
Yeah, it's such a different character. Worked. And I feel like, because I do feel like all the actors from that show, maybe with the exception of Julia, have like had this problem where they are typecast in their roles. I mean, some of them have other problems as well, but especially I feel like poor Jason Alexander is never getting out from under the weight of George Costanza.
Yeah, he should probably really just try to segue as much as he can into voice acting.
Yeah, well, he's good at that too.
That's what I mean. He can do it, so he might as well,
But I do like, I applaud the effort here to just like have it to be a character and portray it in such a way that is very antithetical to anything that he had ever done on Seinfeld. To showcase that, I'm also an actor. I'm George Costanza, but I'm also a professional actor.
Yeah, and he's only, I know didn't he do some like musical stuff after Seinfeld too? That's gonna be a passion of his that caught a lot of people off guard.
He is a theater actor. I mean, he has the diction, he has the sense of presence. This is his home, what he's doing here.
Singing musical stuff on Seinfeld? Isn't there that Les Mis episode where he's...
No, that's Deep Space Nine.
It's Eddington. Eddington's back. No, it's a different balding man.
Wasn't it Master of the House? Isn't that a...
I don't know.
I don't remember this at all. This might be too obscure even for me.
No, I feel like I have to look it up.
No, we have to wait for Caitlin to look it up.
He was a hand model in an episode. Is that what you're thinking of?
No, yeah, it definitely happens. There's an episode where he will not stop singing Master of the House, which is from Les Mis.
Huh.
And I think it's the episode where they have to, like, have dinner with Elaine's dad, but she's like super late and he's just like, they're stuck there hanging out with Elaine's dad, who is like super intimidating to them.
Oh, right. Yep. I don't remember the song. That B plot must have went away.
Well,
But
I think
I remember
I
the
think that
episode.
Elaine's dad like makes fun of him for it, for like being fruity or something. Like it's something like that, you know?
It sounds like a 90s sitcom joke.
Yep, a really funny one. Obviously.
Musicals. The 90s and the 80s were such a like anti-musical decade.
Good.
And it was it was such a strange. I remember it seemed like an event when musicals sort of became popular again.
Mm. All right, well, we're talking mostly about Seinfeld at this point. Are we done with the think tank?
I think so. I
Like
enjoyed it. I thought this was a fun
Yeah, it
one.
was really good.
Yeah.
It was a nice
Yeah, I thought
tonic
this was
to the
gold.
fight.
Yeah, and I love the
Jerry.
double, triple, quadruple cross. I lost track of how many different crosses
So many
there were. They were
crosses.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to specify this episode neither sponsored by Wendy's nor Vandalay Industries.
Okay, I got that one.
Say Vandalay!
I won't, but I will say our blogtivity we're going to talk about right now. Good segue, Ames. Well done.
Chaotic space.
Yeah. So in honor
Chaotica space.
of seeing my new favorite character, Bevox, this week, I wanted to talk to y'all about all the different space-dwelling life forms that we see across all of Trek. And like the other week when we discussed diseases, there's way more than I remember there being. God damn it, it's a long list. Does anyone have a favorite they want to shout out to first, though?
So, I just wanted to clarify. I assume you mean, like, creatures that can live in space without a ship.
Yes.
The big jellyfish from Farpoint.
Yeah, that's a good
they're
one.
Good friends.
I do love those.
They were going to be one of my favorites, too.
Tin Man is a ship. Does
Yeah.
that count?
I was going to throw Tin Man out. He's a good guy.
I like Tin
Yeah.
Man.
There's the thing that tries to... Yeah, they have to sour the Enterprise D's milk because it's latched on.
Galaxy's Child.
Oh, that was the
Space whales.
Leia Brahms episode?
Yeah.
Galaxy's Child?
That's the real Leia Brahms episode.
Yeah.
There was a big-ass amoeba in TOS.
Oh, that thing. Yes,
Space
yes.
amoeba.
I was
The
going to
space
throw
amoeba.
out the two-dimensional beings.
Oh, yeah.
That got the Enterprise caught in their migration.
Forgot about that
Oh,
one.
good call. That's from The Lost, because Troy couldn't sense them.
and
She
Yeah, it
thought
was
she was useless on the ship now.
It's like, oh,
got her
sweetie.
groove back.
yeah.
You were already useless.
Oh, the poor thing. Now, one of my favorites I wanted to make sure I brought up. These are mostly TNGs, because there were a lot in TNG.
A lot of them, yeah.
So many in TNG, and I wanted to give some love to Crystalline Entity!
Yes.
Because
I
also
do love the crystalline entity.
It's
I don't know
so
why.
pretty. Like, they do a great job with it.
I forgot about that one.
Oh, that was one of my favorites.
Well, so if the only criteria is can survive in space without a ship, I'm going to throw lore out there. I mean, literally, I'm throwing him out the airlock.
There you
now.
go. There you go. I don't know.
Well, that
he's
means we cannot include Finney then.
oh
Yeah, Finney cannot.
does not survive in space.
I think we've got to appreciate Nagilum.
We do.
Because there's no one else quite like that. He looked like a fish I had at the time when I saw the episode.
Nagilum not only can survive in space, he sort of is his own space, isn't he?
Right.
Like, he kind
What
of
is he?
is the dimension he inhabits.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
What about Shakari?
Oh,
No,
that
Is he
god?
count, or is he on the planet?
Well, I'm sure that could survive off the planet.
Oh, we never
He was
do
sort
we
of
ever see him
trapped
off the
there.
planet?
I don't know if you can
not.
blow him up.
No, he needs a starship, doesn't he? What does God
Yeah.
need?
What
with a
does
starship?
God need with a starship?
Oh wow.
Q.
Q
doesn't
for
need
sure.
a starship.
Yeah,
We
definitely.
definitely
do.
see
Shit.
Q.
All the cues.
To that effect, we also see a whole bunch of changelings when they survive in space, because I'm thinking
Yeah.
of when Odo's friend Lass was
Yeah.
just being a space whale,
Yep.
which
Yep.
looked super
He's
fun.
definitely space dwelling.
Did
Angel's not great.
TAS have any? I feel like
I
they
was
might
wondering
have.
that too.
They did. They had at least one
Wasn't
that
like
I thought of.
Quetzalcoatl or some shit.
No, because we see that thing as a ship.
Oh.
And it's unclear if it is a ship or if it just has a ship. And that one's questionable, but thank you for bringing it up, because I was thinking of that one earlier too. But the one I am thinking about is that cloud thing that Spock mind melts.
Oh, that's right. Yep. I melt a cloud.
What about Bem?
No.
There's
I don't know.
another cloud, though.
God, he probably could survive in space. The fuck.
Oh, yeah, he's the worst.
I hate him.
Does that mean are you talking about the sabotage cloud, Ames?
The obsession cloud.
That one. That's what I meant.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Yep.
What about Gothos? Where does he hang out?
He seems to need his planet to get around.
Yeah.
But we see his parents, and they're just kind of in the sky.
Yeah,
But
well,
they're still in the atmosphere.
they're weird disembodied voices. It's not clear where they are. So it could be that when his species is older, they can...
I'm still not convinced that they're not part of the continuum, so I don't know.
Yeah. Shoot, I had one for a second, I thought.
Oh no.
What about the Greek gods? Did they need ships, or did they just kind of putter around on their own power? Do we know? Was it that established?
Well, he's got that huge arm
their
that
seed
reached
all
out.
over the place, didn't they?
Space hand.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if this hand can survive in space, the rest of him probably could, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, they escaped Earth somehow.
But they may have had just some sort of advanced tech. We don't know.
Oh, God. The Apollo mission, literally.
Has anybody said nomad?
Nomad is questionably a life form. He's a machine, a little bit.
He friend.
He kind of
is a friend.
He kind of is a ship.
Right. See, this is the question. Like, do we? Oh, sorry.
It's a bit hazy with him.
Yeah. Like, do we want things that can survive in space, or do we want things that were like designed to, or are naturally from space?
I'd say as long as it is alive, we can talk about him.
Well,
so
I
like
think
nomad,
should,
a little more hazy on the nomad.
Yeah, I think the tardigrades have to be in there.
Oh, good.
Partly because they're real.
Yay!
Yeah.
They're the only real things on this list. Even though I don't understand the spore drive. But.
Yeah, no one does.
No one does. Even Stamets. Especially Stamets.
What about okay, here's another one that's on the cusp, I think.
Tell us. These are my favorites.
V'ger.
Oh.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
I mean, at the end, I was going to say V'ger's at the core of a ship, but V'ger is also the ship.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, I mean, the ship
also,
is V'ger's heart.
And it eats Decker, so I guess...
So Decker is our space-dwelling life form.
Yes.
And another question. The probe from 4, is it a being?
Yeah, I don't think we know.
I had that on my list too. I love the probe.
Everyone loves the probe.
For sure.
It's just so like it's almost like the monolith from 2001. It's just like it's just so confusing in and of itself.
Giant space cigar.
Yeah, it's such a great design because it's so just weird. It's so not like a ship that I have to give it credit.
Exactly.
Oh, speaking of living ship things, Species 8472.
Yeah, like they use ships to get around, but
they also just survive in space.
Yeah, they don't need them to survive. It's easier to get around with them.
Yeah, but it sounds like their natural habitat is fluidic space. So
yeah.
What about these chaotic space dickheads from the fight?
We don't know enough about them.
Yeah, I don't know if we even know that they're alive.
Chaotic space.
Well, they're alive, but
the space itself.
Chaotic space.
The photonic creatures from Brida Chaotica.
Oh, well, that's a.
We
Are
don't
they
really
space
know.
dwelling though? Because they're like subspace dwelling.
Yeah, they're a bit. Again, it's one we don't know enough about to be sure.
Yeah. Did we already say wormhole aliens?
Oh no,
no.
Cool.
That's a good point, though. They are.
Yeah, true.
You know, we also got to respect the Pa Wraith who possessed Keiko. And those power play aliens that possessed Miles O'Brien.
Yep.
That's one of my favorite facts about that couple is they have both been possessed.
Yes.
The couple that gets possessed together stays together.
I mean, it works for the O'Briens.
Well, they were shitty to each other while they were possessed, and their marriage survived. So
yeah.
That's the thing. Like, if you can survive a possession, your marriage is stronger.
Yeah.
Man, they've survived a lot, and they had their kid become an adult and
right. God, yeah,
back again.
And Miles' 20-year imaginary prison sentence.
Oh God.
Oof.
They should have their own show, really.
Yes.
At this point.
What's new with the O'Briens?
Did TOS have any others aside from the giant amoeba?
Yeah, they kind of had a couple other. Whenever there was a weird kind of light thing that could follow the ship, because there was
that thing from Day of the Dove.
Yeah, that thing and the lights from Z-Char, which looked exactly like the same effect, basically, because it was just like flashy lights.
Right.
But those things could follow us around. And Jake and I also recently just rewatched This Side of Paradise, and those jizz flowers were said, like, they just one day, they were wafting through space, and then they found this planet, so they settled here.
Audrey 2s.
Oh, man. Jack the Ripper spirit. Did that?
Yeah,
that needs a host, right?
Oh, did it?
So that probably is.
Yeah, I don't know if we ever saw it without a host.
Yeah.
There are a whole bunch in Discovery as well, because we see, like, there's that space whale, there's a space fungus, and there's apparently some
Aforementioned
lightning
Ripper.
bugs. Yeah, Ripper, whom we love.
Mhm.
And there's that one on the short tracks. What was that one again? Ephraim and Dot?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. That was a cute
Yeah.
one.
I really missed the short tracks, because I thought they were like really nice little chunks of ideas that didn't need to be a whole episode, but was still kind of like a fun little thing.
Yeah.
They were
I hope they
cool.
do more. Oh, how about that thing that we see in the, because I know you guys haven't seen all of Lower Decks, but you have seen the opening credits of Lower Decks, and there's that monster thing sucking on the
Sucks
ship.
on the nacelle. Yes, that's right.
Lower Decks opens up a whole new.
Oh, did we talk about maybe this may have already been said, but the thing that tried to eat Voyager a couple weeks ago. Did we already say that?
Oh, from
Those parasite
Bliss.
things?
Bliss. Yeah. The
Yeah, that
Bliss.
one
yeah.
counts.
Yeah,
The-
shit, that
the-
definitely
the
counts.
not nebula, actually giant space.
Maw.
Yeah, the pit of Sarlacc of space.
Yeah, no, I can't believe we didn't say that already.
I'm surprised we didn't say those space sperm that came onto the Voyager in Elogium.
They literally came onto the Voyager.
Ugh.
Oh
Oh, I forgot about that. I was happy to forget about that. Oh
no! I'm
my
sorry.
god.
I must remind you. We've got to go back and do our best and worst of the whole series some point. So don't forget about that.
Oh god.
I feel like this reference is going to depress everybody.
Good,
but,
good.
Ian Troy.
Yup. Actually, no,
yeah.
it doesn't
Sorry.
depress. I'm glad. I hated that kid.
I forgot about the like alien light that
Yeah.
impregnates
from,
Troy so he can experience living.
Yeah, fuck
Yeah.
that.
And then dying.
Yeah, that had been a space
Jackass.
floaty thing. You're right. I forgot about him.
Yeah, another one that I would count in Deja Q, when Q is human for a couple of days, and these aliens learn about it and they come try to kill him. Those things.
Hmm.
I don't
The
remember that. for some reason.
Calamarain.
Count to four.
Calamarain, count to four.
I don't remember them, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, anything else we think of is going to probably go onto the blog post. So if you're not keeping up with our blog post, definitely keep up with our Tumblr. We have lots of blog posts there. I'll have listed all the space dwelling life forms I could think of with screen grabs and everything.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Giant space robot Cthulhu
From Picard.
from Picard.
It's
Oh,
a robot,
oh.
though.
But it's it's definitely alive.
Oh my god!
It's definitely that one's definitely
All
in
right,
form.
putting it on the list.
The exocomps, right? They float around, don't they?
They do. We see it in. I'm not going to spoil for Chris and Caitlin because we do see it in Lower Decks. The exocomps powers,
Oh,
but again, like alive, like
Right.
The
Was-
Borg?
that. True.
They don't do so well in space, do they?
they
No,
do
they can
fine.
walk around. They're good.
Shit, evolution was it called? Were those space based? The things that were trying to keep that guy's probe from getting launched in TNG. The guy who would
Yeah.
play baseball games in his head.
Don't think they were space based.
Okay, I couldn't.
Oh, what
remember.
about that Muse character who was like sucking on Jake's brain?
Wasn't evolution the things that Wesley created?
Oh, you
The
know what he might
nanites.
have.
The nanites.
Yeah,
Wasn't it
I think
evolution.
that might have been it.
Yeah, you might be thinking of home soil, Chris, which is close. But yeah, the nanites were the ones that were trying to kill Stubbs.
Yeah, that's what
because he
that
was constantly going on about baseball games.
No, I just forgot they were nanites. So yeah, no, home soil, but that's ugly bags are mostly water, right?
Yes.
But those were definitely not space based. Those were on a
Right.
planet. And I don't know if the Muse thing was a space based life form. To be honest, because
I think it might have been, but we don't really see. But it might have been.
Okay, that's a possibility.
What about Ghost Dad? Well, I guess Ghost Dad just lives in the penumbra of life or whatever.
You mean Cisco from The Visitor?
No.
Do you mean
Ghost Dad?
from Sub Rosa?
Janeway's dad.
Oh, that
Oh!
thing!
Visits you before you die.
Oh, that was that.
Oh, shit.
I think that might have been space based. Yeah, or the very least doesn't need a planet.
Man, the words
Yeah.
space and based have no more meaning left.
Anyway.
Based.
Also sounds like something you do to a turkey,
Mm.
but in space.
We'll find out if there's any space turkeys next week.
There will be. All right, so I have two options for Chris's Chris to pick from for the outro for this week, because I don't know which is coming next. It depends on when we release things. So either, as promised, we're going to release our season 1 like kind of overview of Prodigy. Spoilers, we fucking loved it, and we cried in the fucking finale.
Oh no, am I gonna cry?
You might cry.
No.
Oh, shit.
I cried. Or the other possibility, next week, more Voyager. The episodes are going to be Juggernaut and Someone to Watch Over Me. So that'll be a good time. Make sure you're listening to us over on SoundCloud or, wherever it is you listen to podcasts. There's a lot of options. They all do the same thing. Pick your favorite. You can also hang out with us on Facebook and Twitter, where we occasionally exist. Or you can go and hang out in the middle of space, where we are space-dwelling life forms. On our Tumblr.thing. That's it for me. This has been Ames.
This has been Caitlin.
This has been Jake.
And this is always Chris, joined by...
This has been Carl.
Yay! Thanks again for joining us, Carl. Do you have anything you wanted to plug?
Check out the Battlespace 9 podcast at bs9podcast.podbean.com.
Oh, man. Season 1 was really fun with you, Carl.
Thank you. Thanks
I'm looking
thanks all
forward to
of you
season
for
2.
coming.
Oh.
It'll be fun.
Yay!
It's a knockout!
That's
We gotta still clap it out.
oh god.